Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And today we're going to be reviewing the Premier League Match Week 21 games. Another week of kind of a mixed bag, to be fair. Some really high scoring games and some very low scoring games. So, the league season's just been so weird this year, and it's actually very exciting to see what happens in these games. But before we get into looking at the games, Al, do you want to reveal the player from the last video?
Yes, the player from the last video was Nemanja Matic.
What a man.
So yeah, what a man. A two-sink legend, if you know, you know. But yeah, let us know if you got that in the comments, and of course
scored that great goal in that comeback against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but of course we'll do the new player at the end of the video. So
yeah, perfect. I say we just jump straight into it, and I think we can't start. Obviously, we have to start on West Ham. West Ham lost at home 2-1 to Nottingham Forest, and I saw a post somebody saying West Ham might be the first team to go 2-0 up and lose 2-1.
Like, what do you want me to say, bro? It's the history of the West Ham, bro. Look, man, where do I even begin? Unfortunately, this is it, really. I think it's pretty clear that we're going to get relegated. It doesn't seem like there's any hope to see us stay in the league. I know we're only halfway through the season, but these performances that we've been putting in recently make it clear to me that we don't have a chance. Not only that, the transfer business that they're doing right now, while we're in the January transfer window, makes me feel like they're preparing for the Championship. Like these two striker signings that they've made, not only that, they've obviously just terminated Callum Wilson's contract, so now he's gone. They then also...
Is that official?
I'm pretty sure that is official. If it's not, it's going to happen. I mean, he wasn't even on the bench, so it's pretty official to me from that. But they also loaned out Callum Marshall to League 2 Bundesliga side. And look, there's, obviously I don't want to write off these two strikers that we've signed straight away. To be fair to Castanos, he looked actually decent in the Nottingham Forest game. I know a lot of people were like, saying that he looks bad because of some of the chances he had. But like, if I'm being honest, the effort he put in, is what I liked from him. To be honest, because it's been a while since I've seen that kind of effort from some of our players. If I'm being honest, which is sad considering that is a new player that I'm seeing doing that. I'm not even like, I don't even think, look, Jared Bowen, I don't know, it's a sad one with Jared Bowen because I'm worried that I think he will leave in the summer, and I can't blame him. He doesn't deserve to go down with the ship after everything he's done for us, if I'm being honest, and he deserves a move away if we are to get relegated. I mean, I'd love to obviously see him stay, but Jared Bowen in the Championship, I just can't see that. It's not right, and he doesn't really deserve that. He's better than a championship player or a championship team. So yeah, but look, again, Castanos, he looked good. He put a lot of effort in, obviously technically was involved with the second goal that got disallowed, unfortunately. But again, he was very also energetic, really chasing the ball, always chasing it, didn't give up. And even Pablo didn't look awful. But again, doesn't look like they don't look good enough to maybe carry us out of this relegation zone, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know what I can say about this game. Yes, obviously, the offside. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, whether it is offside or it's not. It is offside, right? Let's not just beat around the bush. Let's not act like, we're victims here. No, look, it is offside. The pen's a pen. There's no fight in it, right? Some people going, but Thomas Souček, he did win the, because he headed it before, it got to both Morgan Gibbs-White or Areola. And then it's like you could argue, yes, there was intention to go for the ball before it got cleared. However, it is a penalty. He's punched him in the face. I mean, what do you want to say? But we shouldn't, be looking at these kind of games and saying, we're losing games because we're getting robbed. No, if we can't win based off our, performances alone, the way the players are playing by scoring open play goals, then that's on us. If we can't defend them, then that's on us. If we're giving away pens, that's on us. Okay, it's not because the referees are against us, because they're not. A lot of the pens we've been giving away. The only time I'd say we've been robbed this season was against Brighton away, when they gave that goal when it ended 1-1. That robbed us. That was robbed. We got robbed that game because that goal should have been disallowed. However, apart from that, every other pen that we've given away, every other, everything else, it's been on us. Simple as that. And look, it's all stemmed from the ownership. And I said this in the last video. I've said this in so many videos. And it's starting to become boring at this point. But the ownership need to take more responsibility. We can begin, even you can look at this season as a great example. Let's begin with the start of the season, where we had an awful transfer window, in my opinion, in the summer, before the season started, by the way. Not when the season started. But before the season started, who did we sign? We only really signed youth, because we got what? Kyle Walker-Peters on a free transfer, I believe, and same with Wilson, who we've eventually terminated his contract, right? So you've only signed really one person, okay? A left back, when we clearly needed midfield players. You waited until it was obvious, when the season has started and we were getting battered in the midfield, to decide to finally invest in a midfield when it was too late. And obviously it was too late for Potter as well, because Potter didn't even get time to really, embed these players, understand how these players work. And it was too late for him, right? And now we're in a similar situation where it's been clear that the biggest problem hasn't been the attack has been a big problem, but mostly the defense. We've been conceding too many goals and too many easy goals, yet you decided to sign two unproven strikers for 20 mil each. Now, obviously, I've even seen with Pablo, Gil Vicente, bought him for 250k in the summer and just sold him for 20 mil. How shit are we as a club to be doing this kind of business? How are you buying a player that's literally worth 250k for 20 mil and he hasn't even had a full season at that club? Yes, I'm not saying he was obviously having somewhat of a decent season so far. 10 goals in 13 games isn't bad. But bro, it's no offense to the Portuguese league, but not many players have come from the Portuguese league and done well. Okay, yes, we've had a couple of players that have come. Obviously, you got Bruno Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe there's some others, but mostly players that have come from this league have not succeeded in the Prem. But look, man. Yeah, like I said, the ownership are to blame because of the business they've been doing, the way they took us out of the Upton Park. We haven't been able to really create an atmosphere like we used to in Upton Park in this new stadium. And yeah, and a lot of people are looking. One thing I really want to address, and this really starting to piss me off, is when I'm seeing other fans that don't support this club talking about how, it's bitten us in the arse wanting Moyes out. Right, we deserve what we're getting because we wanted Moyes out. What you got to understand is Moyes only won 4 out of his last 20 games, okay? And in those games, we had a 5-1 loss, I believe, to Fulham. We had a 5-1 loss to Crystal Palace, 5-0 loss to Liverpool. We were getting bad week in, week out towards the end of his tenure there. And I have nothing but respect and love for David Moyes and what he did for us. However, he had to go. But who they replace him with is another example of how bad the ownership is. But I could keep going on and on, but I want to give credit to Nottingham Forest because, they stayed in the game and they got the win and they've furthered the gap between us and them in the relegation. So you've got to give them credit for that, and I'm sure they'll be safe this season. And it looks like this is it for us and we're going to be going down to the Championship. So I don't know, it's just sad times, man. All hope is lost, bro. If I'm being honest, all my hope is lost with this club.
Yeah, I feel your frustration. And that rant probably felt a bit good, letting it all out a little bit. Maybe.
It did.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Do you know what I mean? I will say in the game it was more even than you'd think. I feel like West Ham are they created their own problems. The game as a whole was even. I felt like goalkeepers were as equally busy as the other. I mean, they both made 3 saves. Both made good saves too, to be honest.
Areola made one of the best saves I've seen in a long time.
That was a great save. That first save from Areola
would have probably been down and out even earlier in that game.
100%. I mean, obviously he gives away the penalty, but you can't blame him. I mean, you can blame him for that penalty, 100%. It is his fault you've lost this game, but
we didn't take our chances. Simple as that. We didn't create enough chances. We didn't score enough goals.
It's a big mistake. It's a big mistake.
Pablo gave
near the end of the game.
All I'll say is Pablo gave away the free kick. Stupid. Also, the ref was very shit that game, but I'm not going to blame the ref for the reason we lost. But even the free kick,
but you know how games, how it is sometimes, bro. It's inside the box. It's reckless, and it's a penalty decision. And
No, it
you
is.
said
It
it, it's a
is.
penalty, 100%. And like,
But I
I'm
won't
not gonna
blame
say
him for that
he's
loss.
cost you maybe this game only because it's a 1-1 draw, and I think even a 1-1 draw is better than a loss because now the gap is so much bigger. If it's a 1-1
Yeah.
draw, then the gap is just that bit smaller. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's still a five. It would be still be a 5 point gap, but now it's a 7 point gap. So it's much harder on you now. Like you say, I don't know whether you guys will make it this time. I highly doubt it, if I'm honest with you. Um, I mean, the way Burnley played, they might even finish above you. I can't lie.
I
Burnley
agree,
looked,
bro. Wolves
you
look
know,
better than us. Burnley look better than us.
yeah.
We
That's what I'm
look like
saying.
the
You
worst
never
team
know.
in the Premier League at this moment in time, bro.
Again, there's a lot of games to go, but again, if you do not pick up any form of
But where
momentum, you
where
don't make
where do
any
you
good January signings.
where do we get the
That's
where
what
do
I'm
we get a
saying. If
win?
you don't, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
the
You don't
problem.
make signings, then you're gonna have to call it a day. There is time still. There is
The
still
fact I
time,
haven't heard
but
enough, I'm
it's
not
not
hearing
enough
enough
time.
transfer movement, considering the position we're in, just shows how little the ownership care about where we're at and care about the
Yeah.
club.
Anyway, I think it's time to move on to the next set of
It
games.
is. It
I feel like
definitely
we
is.
spent a lot of time on that one. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Let's go on to the Bournemouth and Spurs game. Another great game. Just been a great season. And Bournemouth get their first win in a while. And Semenyo leaves with a little parting gift with a 95th minute winner. 3-2 against Spurs. Yeah, what did we think of that game?
Yeah, you know what? It was a crazy game, and I think we should probably begin with Spurs because similar, like, look, with Spurs right now, it's not looking great for them either. Like, obviously not, nowhere near as bad as maybe some teams, but look, it's not looking great, and the fans are very frustrated. And I mean, it was quite obvious in the game when, towards the end, after the game, Van der Ven and a couple of the other players, I believe, were arguing with the fans, and I think even Christian Romero even put out a statement on Instagram or something like that about the game as well and the fans and all this and that. And it looks like there's a real divide between the fans and the club at the moment, and in terms of with the manager really, and like even the players. Um, Looks like Thomas Frank could easily be the next manager to be sacked. To be honest, I thought it was going to be Nuno after that last game. However, he's not been sacked just yet. So I think Thomas Frank will probably be the next manager sacked, considering how much outrage has been from the Tottenham fans. And can you really blame them? Look, with the team that they have, I guess the results haven't been great, especially at home, which is where you'd want the results to be good. And they obviously bottled a lot of games this season. So yeah, it's not looking great. His pragmatism hasn't worked out at Tottenham. I thought he would be a really good manager. I had him as my manager to watch. I do believe he still is a good manager, but maybe this job was too much for him. Maybe it seemed like Brentford was the perfect job for him. And sometimes that's what the case is. There's some managers, they always try to take that next step and it doesn't work. It seems like for Thomas Frank, this is the case because maybe too big of a job. Obviously, got to give Bournemouth some credit because there was the perseverance to go on and get that winner at the end. But obviously, it came from individual brilliance from Semenyo towards the end to score that goal. But yeah, it seemed like a good game in general for the neutral. However, yeah, no, it's not looking good for Tottenham. So yeah,
Yeah, I heard that Kudus is out injured for a while now too.
yes,
I
yeah,
think
I
he's
think
out
it's like
till
for the
the
rest of
March
this.
national
Yeah,
international break. So yeah, they're
pretty much
losing
like the rest
a
of the
lot of
season,
players
which is
with
crazy.
injuries. If you look at their team now, I mean, obviously their defense is pretty standard. Um, I mean, I don't know. They obviously Madison's been out for the whole season pretty much.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
he has
know.
been out for the whole
That's just not
season,
ideal for them, is it? Like,
and they're losing a lot of attacking players. I mean, Kudus is a big player for them. Um, Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? And they are losing the big players, and sometimes that will cost you in the season. I mean, they made it a good game, but yeah, they're not playing well under
They're
Thomas
just not
Frank, and I
getting over the line, man.
believe exactly they've only got one win in the last five in the Prem, so
It's not
it's not
ideal
looking
for
good for
them.
them,
No.
hundred
And it's
percent.
just a lot of
And their
discourse
league
between them.
positions. Listen, if they win their next game, and I mean, obviously the other teams have to drop points too. They could go up to 10th potentially. But even then, that's not good enough. They're currently 14th, and they're a team who just won the Europa League and come off the back of a very poor season. They could be repeating what they did last season. You never know.
Yeah.
Um, but
Minus
let's
the
move on to a
Champions League.
team who are in beautiful form and a man who's in very good form. Thiago.
Yeah.
He is, or Igor Thiago actually. He helped Brentford get a 3-0 win over Sunderland, and Sunderland have finally fallen below Newcastle for the first time. I feel like
Yes.
this season,
Yes, it
which
is the
that's
first
not
time
good
I
for
believe this season.
something like that. Yeah, yeah,
Not.
it's crazy.
Yeah, let's begin with Brentford because obviously they are the winners of this game, and not only did they win, they battered Sunderland, which is, you'd be quite surprised considering how good Sunderland have been this season. Look, you got to begin. This is what I want to talk about, right? This is a great example of how to run a club. We need to begin with the fact that they lost Thomas Frank, Embuemo, and Wissa in the summer, and replaced them to to a T. Igor Thiago. Oh my god, what a replacement. 16 goals already, and we're only halfway through the season. Looks like a
Most out of any
perfect
Brazilian player.
man. And yeah, the most goals in a season from a Brazilian player, correct, in the Premier League. Even with Tara, he looks great. I think he's still out injured at the moment. Is that correct? What's going on with Tara?
AFCON.
Sorry, AFCON. No injury. Shada as well. That duo that's been brewing between him and Thiago, looking very reminiscent of Embuemo and Wissa. So you can tell that, they know the recruitment there is clearly really good because, they're not missing these players like Embuemo and Wissa, Norgard. They're just not. They're just not. And it just shows what a perfectly run club gets you. They're now fifth, and they're deservedly fifth because of how well they've been. Yes, we've talked about how their away form hasn't been the greatest, but sometimes these kind of clubs, that's what they work on. They work on the home form, and that's good. That's still good. Some clubs don't even have home form, let alone away form either, right? So if you can find a winning, a method of winning, doesn't matter how it is, it works. It gets them the results, and that's what Brentford are doing to a T. They got the perfect tactics. They've managed to recruit within the club in terms of the manager. Instead of going out and paying good money for like a big manager, they've just got the set piece coach Keith Andrews, and he's been promoted to the manager, and he's done an absolutely fantastic job, absolutely amazing job, taking them to fifth. And yeah, there's nothing much more you could ask for from Brentford fans, like, you know what I mean. So. Yeah, no, it's amazing from Brentford. It's actually nice to see, and especially because me and Callis did have them to get relegated, so that's clearly bitten us in the arse.
You mention this every episode.
I think we have to because we clearly disrespected them with that. I think, and I think we have to hold our hands up and realize that we
even
made a
then,
mistake
like
with that.
at the time, it looked like it was the right prediction, but obviously now they proved us wrong, and that's fair enough.
Exactly, but no, that's why we have to hold our hands up and realize we've made a mistake, and we haven't realized how good of a club Brentford
That's why predictions never actually go that well for the Premier League.
I mean, it isn't just recently with Embuemo and Wissa and replacing them, but even when they replaced Ivan Toney with Embuemo and Wissa. You get what I'm saying? It's just that recruitment is just, that they got is amazing. But yeah.
But I feel like, let's go on to the Sunderland side of things, because I feel like, obviously, they had that penalty miss, which was horrible. Is when people try that Panenka when it's that situation in the game. Don't do it.
Why would you do that?
Don't put.
You could have made
just
a 1-0.
Don't put your team in a situation. Do you know what I mean?
Man.
Get your team back in the game.
Make it hard for the keeper.
Kelleher's a good goalkeeper at penalties. I mean, he's conceded 33% of penalties.
Yeah,
which is like what? He saved 4 out of 6. Yeah, so he's only conceded 2 of them. So, which is great, and he's a great shot stopper.
Bro.
But it's on the player taking the penalty, and obviously they're missing a lot of players because of AFCON.
Yeah,
they're missing a lot of players because of AFCON. And yeah, I mean, a lot of them are going to start coming back now because obviously AFCON is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And that's a very good thing for Sunderland, and they need those players to come back. Because currently they are 10th and they haven't won any of the last 5 games. They drew a lot of games in a row.
Yeah.
Right? But again, I'm sure Sunderland's main objective was to not get relegated. And that is like a fair achievement, right? But again, with the way they start, with the squad they have, you kind of expect them to do a bit better. I feel like a top half finish is probably now what they're aiming for.
Okay, but how many points are they off Europe? Because we know it's very close in those positions.
They're not far. They're not far at all. But bro, like if you got to take into account the form they're in as well. They're not winning games.
We knew how hard AFCON was going to hit them. And it's just shown. That's all it's done. We knew it was going to hit them hard. It's hit them hard. Simple as that. When the players come back, I'm sure they'll go back to their winning ways. Simple as that.
Yeah,
I
you're
could
probably
be
right.
wrong,
You probably
but
are right,
we'll
to be
see.
fair. Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. A 0-0 Borefest. I mean, it was a kind of a good game for a 0-0, to be fair. The goalkeepers were busy, to say the least, but there's not really much you can say about 0-0 games. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. You have anything to say?
Look, I actually haven't seen the highlights from this game. I haven't watched the game, unfortunately. I think it was a good game from what I've heard. Could have been close. Could have been anyone's game. Probably a better point for Crystal Palace than it is Villa, especially considering Villa are obviously in the title race. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a better point for Palace. But yeah, no, I mean, it's not ideal for Villa because, obviously dropping points. Especially now that Arsenal have obviously dropped points, which we'll talk about later. Could have been an ideal opportunity to further, close the gap on Arsenal. But it wasn't just them that dropped points in the title race. Obviously, City did. They all did. So realistically, kind of cancels it all out. So no one really dropped anything. But yeah, no, it's just look, Villa are a good team. It's Crystal Palace have a good defense. It wasn't going to be an easy game, even though they've been in bad form. It was never going to be an easy game. And yeah, you can't win them all, really. And I'm sure Villa won't look at this too deeply. I'm sure they'll just move on, and I'm sure they'll get whoever they play next. Let me just check. I'm sure they'll win that game. Yeah, they got Tottenham next. In the cup, which is tomorrow, but in the league they got Everton at home. So I'm sure they'll win.
Yeah, they can win that game.
They'll win,
especially because Jack Grealish and
it's been said
Michael Keane aren't available.
Yeah. So yeah, again, not too much to worry about if I'm being honest. So yeah.
That's a fair assumption, but again, with Crystal Palace, they've not been in good form. This is a good result for them, to be fair. 0-0, keep a clean sheet, build a bit of confidence, I guess, against the team, like you say, are in the title race. But yeah, they have not been in good form lately. Again, they're missing players. I mean, Brennan Johnson's come in. Realistically, I don't know how he did in this game. But you're gonna have to kind of wait and see what happens when, again, AFCON players come back too, as Myla Sarr's a big player for them. He's done so much for the club for the time he's been there. Probably seen as maybe a cult hero because of the goals he scored in the semi-final of the FA Cup. But he's a good player. It's starting to get. Do you know what I mean? This could be a little jump start for them. But we'll move on to the next game, and it is Everton v Wolves, and it ended as a draw. I mean, Wolves, I'm pretty sure they picked up 3 results in the last 3 games, which is very good.
2026.
That's what I'm saying. They've turned it around a bit, I guess.
The greatest of escapes. Probably not. But
they might be able to. They might. You never know.
If they like, genuinely,
but they need to win. They need to win
that.
about 10 games in a row. They need to win 10 games in a row.
Though,
that's the only way I can see them do it. They did it last year.
I want a fucking documentary on that shit because that would be the
film. But all I'm gonna say is one player, Mateus Mane. He is carrying Wolves as a youngster to potentially a fight to avoid relegation. Like, they are currently rock bottom still.
The only sad thing about this is, let's be honest, he's probably going to be gone in the summer.
Yeah,
there's no way. He's too good, and that is the sad thing and sad reality for a lot of these clubs. Trying to hold on to talent like this is just physically impossible. I mean, look at Crystal Palace. They've literally lost Elise and Eze, and honestly, wouldn't be surprised if they lose Sarr and even possibly Mateta.
But again, you got to look at it and take it into account. These players, they're trying to win things in their career.
I don't blame them. By the way, I'm not blaming them whatsoever. My point is, it's the sad reality for these clubs. They can never. The reason we can't, some of these clubs will never be able to establish themselves in the Big Six or anywhere near it.
Unless they qualify for Europe.
They cannot. It doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter because the problem is they can't compete with the depth of these squads that these teams have. Right. That's why. Look at Crystal Palace. Look how much they're affected just by the Conference League. Not even the Europa League. Not even the Champions League.
That's more on the owners. I can't lie. They had a terrible transfer window.
But that's the point I'm making. They're not going to compete. But my point is they could, like a Man United, they literally finished what, 16th? Didn't even win the Europa League, and they still spent 200 mil. Crystal Palace won the FA Cup, and they couldn't spend nowhere near that, bro. You get what I'm saying? This is the problem.
Unfortunately, that is just how the rules are. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, look, by the way, I'm not having to go at United. I'm not having to go. But my point is, there's a clear problem if one team that finished lower, don't even win a trophy, can spend 200 mil, whereas a team that just won a trophy and like finished pretty well in the league aren't able to compete because they can't sign the get the depth into their squad. It isn't just Crystal Palace. It's you could say Nottingham Forest because obviously they're in Europe today, this season.
I mean, let's talk about this game in particular.
Sorry,
I mean, Wolves they can't spend the money.
Yeah, Everton they lose players to AFCON. They're getting suffered from it. Wolves they've suffered. I mean, they used to be in Europe before. They suffered. This is the biggest problem. I mean, they obviously used to have may he rest in peace, Diego Jota. How are you going to hold on to a talent like that? It's just not possible because, like you say, the ambition these players have, they want to win trophies, and they know they're not going to be able to win trophies in these clubs. And it is just a sad reality. And look, I don't know how you fix that problem. I'm not no financial guru to be able to know what rules you can put in place to make it fair, but it's just a sad reality. And I think that's why we can never see, like, look, I think Aston Villa are making a good shout to establish themselves as the Big Six, as part of the Big Six over Tottenham. Realistically, I mean, they're going for the title. Yeah. Tottenham are nowhere near it. So if I'm being honest, I think personally Aston Villa are more in the Big Six than Tottenham are at the moment. Because, fair play, Tottenham won the Europa League, but apart from that, they haven't won much in recent time, and they don't look like they're progressing. Anywho, sorry about that tangent. Let's go back to the game. Crazy end to the game, obviously, with Jack Grealish getting sent off. I've seen a lot of comparisons with that red card and how Van Dijk didn't get sent off after clapping sarcastically the referees in a game previously last season. And not just that, like other incidences in that game and being compared to other games and like the inconsistency. I don't think we need to talk about the how shit VAR has been in general, because it's well known, like you say. I even saw Jack Grealish actually comment on this post that was about how Van Dijk didn't get sent off for the same thing, and he was like, kind of like, I thought that was a bit crazy, but yeah, no. So clearly, Jack Grealish is still not over that, and I don't blame him because he knows. Look, was it a bit silly of him to do? Probably. However, the inconsistency is just so bad. So bad. But like you say, let's give some credit to Wolves. Unbeaten in 2026. Can they do the greatest escape? God knows what. But yeah, it's really bad for Everton losing Michael Keane and Grealish, especially because Ndiaye and Gay are still out. So yeah, they're definitely going to take a big hit with those losses. And yeah, I mean, because they were in a good position and good form, so it's not ideal.
Yeah, I say we move on to the next game. I think you covered it quite well there, to be honest. We'll move on to the Fulham and Chelsea game. Fulham win 2-1. An early red card. We're kind of getting used to seeing from Chelsea, being the difference maker. And Mr. Harry Wilson clutches up again. What do we say about him?
Did you say Harry Wilson or Messi? I got confused though.
You tell me.
Literally, bro. Now, on a real, this guy he is on a generational run right now, and good for him. I'm loving to see it because I really do like him as a player. I've always liked him, to be honest, as a player. Even when we went to watch Wales play, me and Callis in one of the friendlies a couple of years ago, I remember just like really looking at him. He's just such a good player, and he's really showing his potential now. And it's good to see because he's now carrying Fulham up the league. Because obviously, let's be fair, they had a really bad start to the season. Very inconsistent start to the season. And now they're starting to find form. To be honest, I actually predicted this game 2-1 on the dot. Just so good. Just Jose Mourinho, you know what I mean? Like, I just know what I'm doing. But no, on a real, it's probably worrying for Chelsea, but I think it was kind of expected considering the whole manager thing. Obviously, was it
card?
What's his name? McFarlane's obviously taken over. Yeah, with all this stuff that's going on around with the club, and the manager, and obviously Maresca left, and then he had to go at the board before he left, and all this. Yeah, I think it was going to happen. I think they were going to lose, and I think they're going to probably fall off and probably their season derail a little just because of this. Because it's going to be hard to rally up the team, after they were so used to Maresca, so probably happy with Maresca, it seemed, the players. Um, and yeah, so it's not ideal. Red card's not good. I saw a funny post actually that showed that they can nearly build a whole team with the red cards they've had. Like the goalkeepers had a red card, the centre back, like you know what I mean. They're so close to building the whole team with red cards, bro.
Aye,
That
that
had
Robert
red
Sanchez
cards.
red card. I remember that was against United. That was horrible.
One thing I want to say that I thought was also very funny from Raul Jimenez, his celebration. Someone was like,
Yeah,
it's probably a homage to Robert Sanchez's that one meme, which I thought was
yeah.
actually pretty
It was
funny.
against Fulham as well.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, no, it's a good win for Fulham, but they're also on a good run as well. So that's good to see because yeah, they're a good team, and Mark Silva's a good coach, so I'm happy for them.
I remember you said they started the season really, really poor, which they did, but they've actually the only teams that have more wins than them are the current top five, which is
Yeah, I
very,
mean,
very
but that's just because
impressive.
of the run they're on now, bro. You know.
Yeah, but that's, yeah, to be fair, I
Look,
mean
at the start of the
they've
season,
drawn
it
a
wasn't
couple
like the
games.
worst run. They were just on a very inconsistent, very inconsistent. That was the problem.
Yeah, they were quite poor. Let's be honest. To
Yeah,
say that. Um,
but nah, they found
yeah, it
through
wasn't
now.
very
So
good from them, to be honest. But Chelsea. I don't know what's going up with them. They haven't won in a while, and I mean they got a very good result against Man City, but other than that, they're not
how many
winning
times are we gonna
games.
say that defense? I know the attack's not great
Yeah,
either at the moment, but that defense is what's probably letting them down, bro.
I
Just
feel
a
like it's,
bunch
it's
of
also the red
kids, bro.
cards. They're getting too
Oh
many red
yeah,
cards, too
yeah.
many ill-disciplined players. They keep
Surely
on
they've set a
costing games
record
for
for amount of
Chelsea.
red cards in a season or
They
something.
might have, They
If they
might have.
haven't, they definitely will. That's for sure.
I could definitely check that for you later. But yeah, no, it's not good at all. And let's hope with their new manager he can do something because that guy's got so much pressure on him.
Yeah,
He's
poor
a
guy.
guy who they call a PE teacher. He's 41 to be fair. I thought he was a lot younger than that.
What? I
I know he
thought
looks
he
really,
was.
really
I
young.
thought he was like 30 something, bro.
That's what I'm saying. He looks young, but no, he's 41.
I mean, good for him, I
He's
guess.
got that experience with Strasbourg. So will that help him? Will that make a difference? We'll have to wait and see. But I say move on to the next game.
Yeah.
And the next game is Manchester City versus Brighton. 1-1 draw. Another big result for Arsenal. And Man City will be kicking themselves the fact they haven't won that game because they missed so many chances.
I mean, like, what can you even
Unbelievable.
say, bro? That clearly they didn't have their finishing boots on. Simple as that, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
Haaland,
100%.
how is
Haaland,
he?
I mean, Haaland missed that sitter.
Look, you can't just, look, obviously you got to criticize him for this game, but we're not going to criticize his overall game because we know, like, he's the best striker
Of
in the
course.
world, right?
Of course.
But even the best sometimes have bad games. Simple as that, right? But unfortunately, it's come at the wrong time because it's cost them the game and it's possibly going to cost them the league, right? They're obviously in the title race. Arsenal dropped points as well, but that was obviously after this game, so they wouldn't have known that. But they weren't able to put the pressure on Arsenal. You get what I'm saying? You never know. If they win this game, it would have probably put more pressure on Arsenal, and you never know. Arsenal could have lost that game because of the pressure. But they didn't. And it wasn't just Haaland. I think Ryan Cherky had a good chance towards the end as well. But yeah,
Oh, he
clearly
had a
no one,
good few chances, Ryan
clearly
Cherky.
no one had their finishing boots on. Yeah, so don't know what was going on. Did they eat something the day before? Just screwed with their head a little. I don't know, man. But
Brian got
Brighton,
away with a couple
to
chances.
be fair, Brighton could have scored too. You
Brian
know
could
what I
have
mean?
scored, but they made
They were
two
very unlucky.
mistakes, which led to the 1v1s,
Yeah,
so they
well, who
got
was it?
lucky too.
Ayari? Didn't he make a couple of mistakes that
Yeah,
could have led to
he made
goals?
two mistakes, and
I kind of felt bad for him because
almost cost his team.
yeah,
No,
I
yeah,
kind of
100%.
saw when he came off, he looked distraught, man. Poor guy.
I mean, it's a good thing his team did get a result. I feel like this
Yeah,
is a very, very, very good result for Brighton.
Matoma
I mean, they're
as
they're
well.
currently mid-table. Matoma with a great goal.
Hot player. I'm
Um,
surprised he doesn't play more.
I don't know. Is he injured? Is he
Maybe.
inconsistent? I don't know what's going on with Matoma, to be
Every time he
honest.
plays, he's an absolute threat, bro.
Yeah, and obviously Pascal Grob, and that's
Also,
probably a very good move back for them. Very experienced in the midfield and a quality footballer, to be honest. And I think they
yeah.
missed him. So now that they brought him back, very very good for
Right.
I've just gone blank. Brentford, Brighton. I'm sorry. But yeah, you want to move on to the next game?
Indeed,
And the
indeed.
next game, it is Burnley versus Manchester United. 2-2 draw.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to start talking
Yeah,
about
take
Manchester
your time.
United a little bit.
Take your time.
This game, it's kind of hard to judge because I feel like realistically we should have won this game. We got very unlucky, and I'll say that 100%. That first half, I don't think I've seen more unluckiness from a team in a long time. Like 2 goal line clearances, a world class save, a goal disallowed, which should have been allowed. It's like it was like the gods were against us in that first half. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the goal as well they scored. Do you know what I mean? Like that, I felt like that first half really just put us in a bad streak. Do you know what I mean? Second half we
Yeah.
came out, we scored 2 goals. Sesko, I said this as well. This guy, all he needed was a bit of confidence. Strikers, confidence is a crazy thing. So with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, we're seeing with Sesko that when he got that first goal, that second finish was insane. To be honest, it's like a great first-time finish into the bottom corner, giving Dubravka no chance. And again, he could have probably scored more. I think he had the most shots on target in a game for anyone this season.
Yeah, it was like 6 shots on target.
Seven shots on
7
target. Do you know
at
what I
the
mean?
end, yeah, but
So
at one point in the game,
very
yeah.
impressive. Again, listen, he didn't win the game, but they kind of done his job, to be fair. 2 goals should have been enough. Obviously, like we said, the goal we concede, the first one at least, just comes from a mistake. Not even a
That's just
mistake.
unlucky,
that's just really unlucky. Do you know what I mean?
He's
And I feel
gone-
like Aiden
you know,
Heaven,
he's
when he
gone to
came
do
off,
his
he
job.
looked
He's
like
gone
he was
to
a bit
block it.
distraught.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He looks a bit distraught, and I feel like it's not your fault. Like you come to put a foot out, could have been for a corner, but it's just unluckily looped over Lamens as well. And
Yeah.
I'm not taking any Lamens slander, by the way. I saw somebody post it. I'm not even gonna entertain it, to be honest with you.
have to have some
It's not fair.
something wrong with you if you think Lamens is
Honestly, after coming
any
off the
way a
back of
problem.
watching Onana for a whole season, and now you're starting to blame Lamens.
Do you know what's the
Brother,
thing?
this guy,
Yeah.
Lamens, he's one of the reasons why we're actually
Yeah,
in the position we
literally.
are now. We could have lost so many games if it weren't for him. Leeds, he made
Yeah.
that insane. Was it Leeds that he made that double save?
No, wait. Are you thinking Bournemouth? The double save.
No, Bournemouth. He made 2 saves right at the end. It was another team we played. Wolves. He made that great double save against Wolves.
Yeah.
Where they could have gone on to win the game. He made that bicycle kick save from Leeds, and he's making good saves, man. I mean, against Tottenham as well. Do you know, in the games we're not winning, we're drawing.
Yeah.
He is a main reason why we're not dropping all of the points. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even some of the wins, you know, he's made big saves and he's been very impressive. And I'm very happy with that we signed Lamens. And I feel like at the time people doubted it.
Bro,
We've
it's like
gone
they
for
forget
Emiliano
that there's a
Martinez.
defense, you know? Sometimes people forget
100%, bro. I'll be honest, the defense.
that can also take blame for goals.
That Anthony goal
not just
was
keepers.
quite poor from Martinez. I feel like he switched off for that moment. And then
did.
don't get me wrong, Anthony's a good technical player. And he's like,
I don't even know if it's about switching off, but he's just made a mistake. He's
Yeah, I'm saying,
misjudged,
mistakes happen.
misjudged it, you know?
But
Like where
that's what I
Anthony
will
was
say.
going with
Man
it,
United,
so-
they've conceded 32 goals. Like, the next team
Flipping out,
after us is in 15th. Even Tottenham have conceded less goals than us, and they're 14th. We're 7th. And to be fair, if we had won the game today, yesterday,
Swear,
as of
Man
we're
United
recording,
just allergic to gaining.
yeah, do you know what I mean?
positions in
The
league, bro.
opportunity to get 4th place, we've had it, 3 games in a row where we can literally win and be the... Like, obviously, again, I talked about this before, about results and hindsight and all that.
Yeah.
But you got to take your opportunities.
Yeah.
That's the issue. It's like Man United are allergic to taking the opportunities to be in the top 4. Because, again, Liverpool have dropped points as well. And, I mean, Chelsea, they've been on terrible form. We have to take these opportunities. Nobody expected us to finish top 4 this season. But with the way the season's going, if we can build a bit of consistency, Ahmad and Burmo coming back, Mazarawi, listen, looks like Ollie might be in for the next Premier League game against Man City. Can he be Pep's kryptonite again? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, and also I'm going to mention one more thing before we go on to maybe Burnley, if you want to mention anything about them. Ugarte. I've seen people really complaining about the midfield being like it's haram ball and all that. Honestly, if there's one player I would take out the team right now, it's Casemiro. He's been good, but this game he was poor. And I feel like Ugarte is really coming into his own. He's built confidence, and I feel like he's starting to pass the ball around better. He's winning the ball a lot more. And that's what it is. He's not making mistakes the same way he was, like literally costing us games. But again, like I said, confidence is everything with these players. Sesko getting goals, and now he looks like a completely different player. Like the finishes, if you looked at him against Leeds, you wouldn't think he'd even have those finishes in him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally.
And Ugarte, he made those mistakes against, was it Villa? He made the mistake against, no, it wasn't Villa. He's made so many mistakes. I've lost count, to be honest with you.
So it's not even
But
get
again,
started, bro. We'd be
he
here all
started
day
what 3 or 4
listening to
games in a
mistakes.
row, and now he started to build a bit of consistency.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? I feel like
Kobe Mainoo
we have
as
to
well
wait and
coming
see.
back. That was good. He
Kobe
was
Mainoo
good.
coming into the team
Yeah, not
again.
bad.
Like he played a couple minutes. He was okay.
Shea Lacey. Looked fucking
Shea Lacey,
fantastic,
yeah,
bro.
that's another player. And to be fair, if that goal, I honestly thought that was gonna hit the crossbar
Wow,
and
that
go in, and I was
clenched my
about to lose
fucking
my head.
ass, mate, when I saw that shot.
Do you know what I mean? We had to be honest,
Thought that
bro.
went
Let's
in,
be
bro.
honest. If we looked at that game, we should have won that game. The stats were well in our favour. Burnley weren't threatening enough for them to even get a result, but somehow they had one shot on target and they've scored 2 goals and they've drawn a game.
It's a problem a lot of clubs have though. Is just getting over the line. You, Tottenham, I'd say us, but we're just shit. So that's beyond.
No, it's
that
there's
problem.
getting over the line, and then there's conceding the way we have the
But
way
that's the point. You're not getting over the
My
line
thing is
because you're
the
conceding
way the
those ways. You
teams
get
start
me?
to play against us. It's really strange. It's like their final. It's like a cup final for them. Like literally Burnley. I've seen them play against these and they get smashed. But against United, even when they came to Old Trafford, we went to that game.
Yeah.
And they were decent. It was very similar to this game. But obviously this game went a bit more in their favour. The goal line clearances, the saves,
Yeah.
and I mean, even though Sesko scored twice, he could have scored like 3 or 4 to be fair. So that's it. I could talk about Man United more, but let's maybe discuss the Burnley side of things. They were okay, you know.
Goals were good. Well, it's not the first
The
one. The
goal
second
was good. Other than that, they weren't that great. You know,
I
a
don't know,
player
I
who I
thought- do you know
really
who
did
lo-
enjoy
Yeah.
watching, Marcus Edwards.
I
I
was
thought
going
he
to
was
say the
great on the
exact
ball.
same thing, bro.
He was great on the ball, and he
I've
looked
talked
very
about
dangerous.
him before. I've said that he was an exciting player that I wanted to see a bit more of because he came from Sporting, I believe.
Sporting, yeah.
Yeah, and he was meant to be. He was turning out to be a good talent, and yeah, he showed it that game for sure, for sure, for sure. So yeah, no, very good talent. The way he carried the ball was amazing, very exciting to watch. You know, the way he was breaking through like groups of players. Like I swear, at times he had like 3 players on him, managed to get his way out of it. So, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, it looks like a very good player for Burnley. However, if they obviously get relegated, will he stay there? I mean, that's the question. I mean, if another club sees his talent, it's pretty could easily go to a bigger club. So
Yeah.
it's kind of sad.
But yeah, that's sort of that game. Finished 2-2. Good game, I guess. But United should have won that game. But let's move on to the next one. And the game of the weekend. Newcastle vs Leeds. What a
Madness.
comeback from Newcastle. To score 2 90-minute plus goals and clutch up Mr. Harvey Barnes, not an equaliser, a bloody winner, mate. Tell you what. So what can we mention about this game? It's been fantastic. Do you want to maybe mention
about this game, bro? Had
Do you know what I mean?
everything, absolutely everything. One person for Leeds, at least, that we can talk about, Aronson. Now I heard that he was getting criticised big time at the start of the season. A lot of the fans were very unhappy with him, but he has managed to turn it around big time. Not only did he score in this game twice, I believe. I think he scored in the game against United as well. Yeah, he's turned it around big time at Leeds, and they're very happy with him now, and he's really, being a key player for them, in getting certain results. So yeah, no, he's been a very good player. But Newcastle, Newcastle. Look, with Newcastle, they have they have a really good squad. I'm not surprised, they can get a win like this because I've said it before. Like, the problem with Newcastle isn't really the squad. I'll be fair. I did question the manager a couple of times this season. I've asked the question whether he took them as far as he possibly can, and let's be fair, he's got them at 6 right now. So he's definitely turned it around. So good for them and good for him. But yeah, I mean, like, this game was just crazy. It was just crazy. It was so end to end. It's very probably heartbreaking for Leeds to drop points so
all
late
of the way
in
they
game.
did.
I feel like it's quite unlucky for the keeper at the end did get fingers to it, but just wasn't enough. Because
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just a good game. Very
It's a
good
great
game.
game, but you could probably still say on the position they were in to concede. I know there was a lot of extra time, like a lot of added time. So,
Yeah. I think it was
and
like 10
obviously
minutes.
Newcastle at home, that is the advantage. The home team always usually gets the advantage.
St James Park is just a fortress, to be fair.
No, that's what I'm saying. St James's Park is a great stadium to play at, especially if you're a Newcastle player. So obviously they had that edge with all the time added on. They got that late equalizer, and obviously then they got the very, very late winner. So I
Yeah.
would say realistically, it's obviously not a good result because they lost Leeds, but it shows that they can go toe to toe with most of the teams in the league. Because again, Newcastle,
Yeah,
let's
agreed.
not forget, they're a Champions League side. They're in the Champions League,
They're
and
sixth
let's
now
be
as
fair,
well.
they've got a decent squad. They are sixth. Do you know what I mean? Sixth.
So,
Um,
yeah.
could they get it again? Second year in a row. You never know. You never
I
know.
had them, to be fair.
Um,
I think I predicted them to get like top six or like sixth or fifth.
yeah,
Something like
they
that.
have a good squad, and let's be
They
honest.
do. They have one of the better squads in the league as well, if I'm being honest. Attacking wise, midfield. It's very balanced, is what I like about them. They're a
100%.
very
I agree.
balanced team. They got a great midfield, great defense, and even a great attack.
And
Maybe you
that's
could
what
say
I'd
the
say
keeper
about
could be a
this
bit
league
better,
season.
but Pope's still pretty
Loads
good.
of the teams just have great players all round. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Bruno
yeah, the
Guimaraes is
quality
what a
in the depth
midfielder
of the
as well.
league. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The quality in the depth of in the league itself. Like I think every team has a great squad. Even the teams that are in the relegation. But let's be honest, West Ham have a good set of players, but they're
They
just
do.
not playing well.
No, agreed.
And that's it, bro. I feel like the quality in terms of depth of the league is very, very good, and it's very competitive. Even though you look at the relegation zone and how there is such a big gap. Yeah, I don't want to mention too much about relegation, otherwise I feel like you might crash out on the spot. But let's move on to the next game, and it's a game that is on the higher end of the league, and it is Arsenal versus Liverpool. Borefest, literal Borefest, finished 0-0. Not much going on in the game. I did discuss with my younger sister. She is an Arsenal fan. She watched the second half, and she said that Arsenal did not perform well at all in the second half, and it looked like Liverpool were going to be the team to win the game in the second half. I don't know. I'll be honest. I didn't watch the game, so
This was going to be a massive game for Arsenal. It was a massive game for Arsenal to take a further lead in the title race, make it a bigger
it's
gap.
not a
make it
bad
8
result though.
point
Let's keep that into account.
look.
It's not a bad result at all.
Luckily for them, the other teams dropped points. Otherwise, this
Exactly.
would have been awful, right?
It's the same gap, yeah.
However, because the other teams dropped points, it kind of cancels out because it's the same gap now.
It's like nothing happened, pretty much.
But it's still a big opportunity missed for them because they could have made the gap 8 points, which would have relieved a bit more pressure off them. Having that 8 point gap would have, give them a bit of security to know that, maybe they can drop points in, a game maybe here, there. Like, some games where they just unluckily win, but they'll still have a lead. But now that they've dropped points there, it's a big, massive opportunity missed. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Yeah, just because the other teams drop points doesn't make this any less of an opportunity missed, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sure Arsenal will be very annoyed at this, and I'm sure the fans are probably pissed off at this, and of course, they would have loved to have won this. But I was quite surprised because I thought they would really, win this game comfortably.
Take the opportunity.
Liverpool have not been great. And I mean, even in this game, they didn't get a single shot on target. That is awful, especially for Liverpool standards. But apparently in the second half, Arsenal just didn't really have much of the ball. But look, good result for Liverpool. Awful, not a great result for Arsenal. It's more of just the fact that they missed an opportunity to really further, extend that gap at the top, which would have genuinely, like I said, would have relieved pressure and made the title race, going for the title much easier on their part. But yeah, where do their problems lie, Arsenal? I know we've talked about it quite a lot. I guess the striker, Gyökeres hasn't been great. Gabriel Jesus has come in, done all right.
You could probably say there's a sort of lack of goals at striker, and they thought that, and even me personally, even I said that Victor Gyökeres would be a sort of a changing light for Arsenal. Maybe not in the way that, I mean, they're still top of
Look,
the league. They're six
he's
points clear. They are kind of comfortable. He's not been that striker that
striker,
they
yeah.
thought they were going to get. Do you know what I mean? The goal scorer. And remember, we talked about how Arsenal wanted Sesko and United wanted Gyökeres.
I'm
I mean,
telling you now,
if
you swap them
Sesko,
around, and it would have been
it could have been a completely
much
different
better.
story. You
But
never
then
know.
again, you never know. So,
But the point is, you look at how, I mean, when I watch Sesko play week in, week out, obviously, Man United fan, and I see him how he plays, he could definitely suit the Arsenal team. I feel like technically, for a
yeah,
guy so big, he's very good on the ball.
set
Like,
pieces
he's been unlucky with his
as well.
chances. Do you know what I mean? He
Yeah,
really has. I feel like Sesko, he gets a lot of,
criticism,
criticism, but as a striker, he
unnecessary
hadn't really had a
criticism.
clear-cut chance.
I
The
get you.
first real clear-cut chance he had, he just put it away with ease. It was a beautiful finish. And I feel like with Gyökeres, it might be the same issue. Is he getting clear-cut chances? Probably not.
Not for him,
Um,
no. Again,
that's what I'm
they
saying.
do.
Him
They
personally,
look. Obviously, they're not the only team that rely on set pieces, but they do heavily rely on set
but it's
pieces.
also a thing where I feel like Arsenal were mentioning so much how the fact that they needed a striker to get over the
Yeah,
line and sort of, and they were making so many chances for the striker, which they were a couple seasons ago. Remember
yeah.
this was before they were
I've said
a
this.
set piece team.
Can I? Sorry to like
Yeah,
interrupt,
hop in.
but I
Yeah,
just
why
want
not?
to like mention this, and I've said it before in the season, and I've said it to Carl. I don't feel like this is the most dominant we've seen Arsenal. I
Yeah,
think
agreed.
genuinely in that first season they were going for the title. They were better in terms of being dominant. The way they were winning, like obviously they were well ahead in the title, by Christmas in that season. You know, they were
Is
just
that
more
them being
dominant.
dominant, or is that maybe the league
Not even,
being
but like they
a
were
lack of,
winning
there was a lack of
games.
quality in the league?
No, I think they were more dominant personally. I just think they were playing better.
You think?
Personally, yeah. If
I mean,
anything,
Arsenal this season, they haven't been bad at all. I mean,
if
the
anything,
top of the
teams have
league.
been. It's a bit easier for them this season because teams have been dropping a lot of points to other teams. You get what I'm saying? Like the teams that are challenging them have been dropping a lot of points.
You know what
Whereas
is?
in that
I'm
season,
while you're
City.
talking about it, I'm gonna check one thing. So go ahead, keep on talking, and I'll.
I think this is probably their best opportunity, especially with the squad they have. You get what I'm saying? Look, yeah, maybe you could argue what you were saying about whether the teams were worse in that season, but what you got to understand is this is the best squad they've had now. There's no excuses in terms of if we get an injury. No. In terms of like for example in defence, you got Mosquera and Hincapi. If either Gabriel or Saliba gets injured, I'm pretty sure Mosquera might still be injured. God knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But my point is they still got options. Even Jurien Timber can play at centre back and Ben White at right back, for example, if need be. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So there's no excuses. So if they can't win the league this season, then I don't know, man. What do they do? Do they sack Arteta or do they give him another season? More signings? What do you do? What do you do?
It's a strange one, to be honest with you. Actually, looking at it, I believe Arsenal had just 1 point. They're only 1 point behind what they had at this point in the season. So they're very similar to that level they were. Do you know what I mean?
But
Here it
in
says, I'm asking
my
ChatGPT to be
yeah,
honest with you.
fair
I mean,
enough. I don't know
they
if
had
that's right.
50. Oh wait, no wait. It says it's 51 points. So 2 point difference. That means they could have changed one of those
My
draws into a win.
yeah. When I
Do you know what I
say
mean?
dominance, I mean in the game. Like you felt like they were just dominating, like in terms of scoring, or more open play. Because I think
Not even that season, to be honest with you. That season they were getting scrapey wins. The season after that, where they were winning
maybe it
like
was that season I'm
7,
thinking.
6,
That's
5
probably the
nils,
season I'm
like
thinking of.
almost every
Yeah.
single game against those
Yeah.
lower sides. But like you say, against the big sides, they dropped loads of points.
That's been their biggest problem. Like
I
know
feel like
they
this
beat Villa,
season they
but
may
they've
not
just
be
dropped
as,
points
like
against
you're saying,
Liverpool
dominant
again.
against all the smaller sides, right? But sorry, I feel like I'm talking over you. But
No, go for it, man. Go for it.
do you know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is like they may not be dominating or smashing teams as convincingly as you might have hoped. Like, I mean, Wolves, they only won 2-1 from
And they
own
didn't even
goals.
score any of their
But again,
goals.
sometimes in a league race, you don't have to be dominant.
I have no
Obviously,
problem
that
with that.
helps.
Yeah.
And they are getting the results. They are currently still 6 points clear. Listen, it's not a great result, but again, Man City dropped points against Brighton at home, which you'd expect Man City to win. And then you could say against Aston Villa as well, against a team in Crystal Palace who have been playing so many games, just one after the other, with such a lack of squad depth. They didn't take the opportunity as well. And Arsenal, they dropped points against Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
a bad team to drop points against. But again, they've
When
got a couple games.
yeah,
They've got Nottingham Forest next. They win that game.
if they don't win that game,
Manchester City have the Manchester Derby.
what?
It's
Yeah,
looking very interesting to see.
what I would say
That's
is
what I'm
with
gonna say.
City, them in this January transfer window, I could see them really. Well, obviously they're going to get Semenyo, and they're probably going to even possibly look at getting Gahey.
Whether they pay the price tag is the question.
Look, if whatever they're going to get a defensive like signing to boost their defense. And let's be fair, with these signings that they make, they could easily, go back into winning form again. And if that's the case, I do worry for Arsenal, only because, again, I've talked about it, they've dropped points in the big games. Yes, they beat Villa very recently, but that's the first big game that they won. Apart from that, they've dropped points again against Liverpool, who have been fucking shocking. So how they've managed to drop points there. Again, luckily for them, the other teams have dropped points. So I'm not going to be too harsh on them. But it's just a big missed opportunity, and that's it. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Major missed opportunity for Arsenal to build that point. But if we talk about Liverpool, like we said, they were good in the second half, but they are lacking something. It's really strange. Last season they were unbelievable.
Do you think Slot's
unstoppable? Some might say. A Slot, I think so. I really do. I know they're fourth. I know they're fourth, and they've been on a good run of games-ish, but they've drawn the last 3. That's not good. Look at the squad they have.
Yeah.
I mean, Florian Wirtz. I mean, again, to be fair, Ekitike and what's his name? Isak. They're both injured, which isn't ideal. And Salah isn't in the squad, but again, it's not just, you got to look at the season as a whole. They've conceded too many goals where they have one of the best centre backs of all time, some might say, in Van Dijk, and Konate as well, who's a good centre back in his own right. They're conceding too many goals. You'd expect an experienced centre back partnership like that to at least be defensively solid. They kept a clean sheet in this game, right? But they've conceded 28 goals this season, which isn't very good for the level of team they are. Do you know what I mean? Especially how dominant they were last season. That's an issue.
I mean,
and then the goals as well.
Slot, now might be the best opportunity with all the managers that are available.
True. But I feel like right now managers are going to wait. Sorry, the teams are going to wait for the summer to hire managers, and that is what I will say. And again, Man United are in that race. Chelsea are in that race. I mean, I was going to say West Ham, but they won't be able to get the quality of manager, unfortunately, for them.
Bro, who would want to fucking come to this bullshit, bruv? They know they're going to
especially in the next season when you're in the championship. So,
bro, it's probably going to be Harry Redknapp, and at that point, fucking kill me now.
I mean, you never know. You could get somebody that can get you promoted in the first season. You don't know.
The problem isn't even with the manager, though. It's just the signings and the ownership. Look, I can't be asked to keep talking about West Ham. Let's just carry on and get through this video.
I feel like that is all we can mention for today's games, to this weekend's games. Today we're not doing a prediction video because there is no Premier League games this weekend, and there are FA Cup games, and we don't do FA Cup games just yet, but maybe in the future we will, when we get a bit more time. Obviously, this year it's been a bit of a strange one. It's our first year. We've sort of built around it. Ali and Hassan also finishing university. They're on their final year. So hopefully next season we could pump out the content, and yeah, we'll probably increase the amount of leagues watched, more content. We'll try and upload on a regular basis, more regular basis. And yeah, we hope you guys are enjoying the content we're putting out. I feel like the next video we're going to do, did we say we're going to do a mid-season review? Is that right?
Halfway through, halfway through.
So we'll do a mid-season review. That's going to be a fun video to do, I guess. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for videos you might want us to do, we might have a couple of interesting bits of content coming up. We'll have to wait and see. We're in discussions for a couple things. So we'll see what we can do in that sense. But thank you guys for coming in. Before we end the video, we can show the leaderboard. I'm not very happy with that because apparently I've fallen even further behind. So yeah, Mr. Carlos Tevez, you're gonna have to be on the back of my kit, but on a Man City one. Yeah, it's not looking good for me. I mean, Ali's starting to run away. Listen, I mean, Ali's safe. I don't know whether the winner actually gets a prize. Does the winner get a prize? Or did we discuss that? I don't know.
We will discuss that further down the line when we get.
We discussed the forfeit, but we didn't discuss a prize. Of course, the forfeit is going to be me as well. All right. Anyway, Al, do you want to give us the quiz before we end the video?
Yes. Let's start with the first fact. He scored exactly 3 goals in the Premier League, all during a short mid-season loan spell, not a permanent transfer. Second fact, his Premier League debut came in his mid-30s, making him one of the oldest players to score in his first league start for the club. Third fact, all of his Premier League goals were scored at Old Trafford, with none coming away from home. Fourth fact, he turned down a permanent Premier League move despite the club wanting to extend his stay after the loan spell. And for the fifth and final fact, all of his Premier League appearances came during the club's 2006-07 title-winning season. Let us know if you know who that is in the comments down below, and of course I will reveal him at the start of the next episode.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Al. And yeah, perfect. That's all we have for you guys in today's video. So please leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Take care.